After months collecting data and logging responses, the dust settles. You're left staring at a massive mountain of spreadsheet cells and SPSS outputs. Graduate researchers often stumble here by performing a data dump, pasting complex tables directly into a document, and writing paragraphs that merely repeat the numbers already visible in the rows. Numbers alone cannot form an academic argument. A raw statistic is a piece of building material, not a finished structure. Building that structure requires distinguishing three steps: results, findings, and discussion. Results are the summarized output, simply what the math shows. Findings interpret the data to answer your questions, while the discussion evaluates those findings against existing literature. Success in a research paper depends on translation, guiding a reader from a spreadsheet to a persuasive theoretical argument. We can track this translation by looking at a single metric, a post-test mean of 417.10 words per essay. The first step is framing. We use a location statement, like Table 1 shows, to point the reader to the source without cluttering the text with every available metric. Next, we write a highlighting statement to isolate the most significant pattern, in this case, the sharp increase in word count for the collaborative writing group. This marks the transition from results to findings. We shift our focus from what the data shows to why the data looks this way. This shift requires us to link the highlighted trend back to the theoretical framework that structured the study. For our word count data, we attribute the increase to social interaction. Through collaborative dialogue, students were scaffolded within Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. The isolated number now has meaning. The word count rose because of social scaffolding, transforming a raw result into a true finding. To complete the pipeline, we move into the discussion section. This is the space where the researcher's analytical voice becomes the primary focus. Here, we use rhetorical moves to evaluate our finding against previous studies. We connect our work to past research that supports our outcome. We might state that our finding corroborates the work of Dobau and Bloom, who also observed fluency gains in pairs. A rigorous discussion also engages with studies that reached the opposite conclusion. We acknowledge that our result contradicts Ajmi and Ali, who found that their students struggled to collaborate. Navigating these tensions is a hallmark of strong scholarship. It demonstrates that you are accounting for the complexities of the field. By positioning the finding between supporting and contradicting literature, an isolated data point becomes part of a global academic conversation. That single metric traveled a long way, from a quiet number in a table to a theoretical claim, and finally into an active scholarly debate. Completing this chapter requires moving past the technical accuracy of your statistical tests and into the realm of analytical judgment. The researcher's primary responsibility is to make sense of the study for the reader, synthesizing disparate results into a coherent story. The discussion section is where you establish your authority, articulating exactly how your study contributes to the current understanding of the subject. Executing this translation pipeline takes you beyond the role of a data collector. It marks your transition into a scholar who can interpret evidence and contribute to the field's ongoing dialogue.